everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, October 13th, 2024. Nikki Newman, you have been a very bad girl. And did you see the way she immediately turned into, oops, I've been a bad little girl, when Lily confronted her on Friday? All of a sudden, she had that innocent, but oops, I did a bad thing look on her face. She was flashing those big blue eyes like, yeah, but you still love me, don't you? And gee, I hope that you will still consider working with me at Chancellor. I mean, under me at Chancellor. I'm saying working with me, but I'm meaning working under me. That's okay with you, right? You're fine with me screwing you over and then offering you a lesser position, right? Oh, I'm glad this happened now. I really am. I'm glad that Lily got out before she got in any deeper. And I think the disappointment would have just have been more. And believe it or not, it's all thanks to Devon. Devon is the one who told Lily this week that working with Victor is a bad idea. Small reminder, working with Victor is a bad idea. And let's think about this. Victor is not just going to spend all of this money to buy Chancellor Industries and put all of this effort into acquiring Chancellor Industries and then just hand it over to someone who doesn't have the last name Newman. And then Lily goes, oh yeah, well, who's he gonna give it to? Abby? No offense. That was rude. Really, really rude. But then Devon said, well, what about his precious Nikki? You think she's just gonna be satisfied in semi-retirement? No. In fact, Devon overheard Nikki slipping, saying that Victor was giving her some sort of priceless gift. Well, Catherine's beloved company would fit that bill, don't you think, Lily? And that really resonated with her. Suddenly she realized she doesn't have a contract. All she has are promises. And yeah, maybe Victor's not exactly trustworthy. So Lily goes to Victor and she tries to get something in writing, but Victor was elusive, and that's when she decided to skip dealing with Victor, and she went straight to Nikki to question her. Nikki really couldn't lie point blank about it, because I think Nikki does like Lily and really genuinely wanted to work with Lily, but Lily's not going to accept her terms. So Lily ended up walking out on Nikki, and I'm sure Nikki will just end up having Claire work at Chancellor Industries with her, if indeed the Newmans are able to take it over. But Lily's off the table, and I'm sure also that Lily is going to go immediately to Devon, where Devon will become enraged, not just because his future parents-in-law were trying to screw over Lily, but I think Devon is going to have this moral outrage because Nikki and Victor exploited the memories of his father and his grandmother to do it. Good. I'm glad, because that means finally we have some form of drama going on around Abby and Devon's wedding. Some other drama besides the fact that it's a month away and the venue has become unavailable. Oh no! What's a billionaire to do? Well, if one billionaire can't solve the problem, maybe 2 billionaires can solve the problem. Gee, Victor just took right over that, didn't he? He was like, don't you worry about a thing. I, the great and powerful Victor Newman, will find a new location for you. Where? I'm not telling. Charming. Well, what about the caterers and the florists and all the guests? Never mind all that. Just stop asking questions? Okay, Dad. Sounds great. I have always dreamed of letting my dad plan my wedding. That is every bride's dream, isn't it? I mean, this is going to be a Victor Newman occasion. A Victor Newman planned wedding? Do you know, a Victor Newman planned dream wedding, do you know what it's going to have a whole lot of? I'll tell you right now. Horses and chessboards. That's right. This wedding is going to have a whole lot of horses and chessboards. There's going to be a big horse-shaped cake. There's going to be candles in the shape of chess pieces everywhere. The floor is going to be painted in a black and white checkerboard pattern. Oh, this is going to be great. Or it's just going to be at the ranch. Or it'll be at the jazz club underneath Neil's portrait. Or if Y&R actually wants to knock our socks off, they'll bring back the colonnade room. That would wow me. That would really wow me. Bringing back the colonnade room. From the sound of it, Y&R is going to be bringing back Ashley for the wedding. Both Tracy and Abby have reported that Ashley is doing great and she is going to be coming back to Genoa City for Abby and Devon's wedding. But I don't know, call me jaded. I just have a feeling that Ashley is going to end up having an off-screen heart attack and then she won't be able to make it. No, wait, that was Paul. Are you kidding me? Paul had an off-screen heart attack. I feel like that is dirty pool, Y&R. That is some dirty dealings. You got my hopes up thinking there was going to be a surprise around the corner and then whoosh, you just pulled the rug right out from under me. Actually, I'm just kidding. I completely knew that Paul was never coming back, but I didn't expect Y&R to be so bold as to imply it and then give him an off-screen heart attack as a way to get out of it. Very clever, Sharon. Those two have thought of everything. I mean, honestly, I'm impressed. In the past, Sharon's manipulations have mostly been focused on getting the man that she wants. But now she is really putting those deceptive tactics to a new use. She texted Daniel from Heather's phone, pretending to be, I don't know, some innocent bystander who found the phone and wanted to return it, never mind that it had a passcode on it. And Daniel, thinking that there was possibly some evidence on Heather's phone that might help he and Lucy make some sense of this whole tragedy, he let himself get lured out of his apartment while Sharon snuck back in and snuck the bloody towels and the phone right into the credenza to frame him. Impressive. But it wasn't actually even just the physical evidence part that was brilliantly planned. It was the psychological evidence that she planted too. I really feel strongly that Sharon must watch Dateline on Friday nights because she knows that the police are going to suspect the spouse first. Always suspect the spouse. It's always the husband or wife that has the motive, and Sharon must have known that. So, Chance comes knocking on Sharon's door this week, and she had this just very subtle way of planting that seed in Chance's mind. And it, really it was both subtle and very bold at the same time, because she admitted that she and Heather were at odds. And she also admitted that she went to the apartment the night of Heather's disappearance, but said that she went there only to, again, apologize. And oh, by the way, when I got there, Heather was really, really upset because she and Daniel had had a bad fight. Well, why wouldn't Chance believe that, really? I mean, he's coming straight from Sharon. And Chance and Sharon were once an item. Heck, Sharon still has Chance's favorite tea in her cupboard, And Sharon came off as so warm and so sympathetic, the way she always does. She's Sharon. She's always there for other people's problems. She's always an ear for other people to talk to. Sharon has been solving other people's problems with her coffee shop lemonade stand therapy office for years now. No one's gonna look at her and think that she killed Heather and dumped her body into the river. But everyone's going to suspect the spouse. Especially if they were rumored to have been fighting. Honestly, it's shocking because Heather and Daniel had one fight. Ever. One. In fact, I have never seen a couple fight less. They went through so much together, and they were always on the same page. But that one fight happened at just the right time. And I still don't know if Lucy heard it. Because Chance actually questioned Lucy this week about whether or not Heather and Daniel were known to fight. And Lucy seemed very shocked by the question. She didn't really say one way or another, but I wonder if she did hear the fight. And I wonder if, as the heat starts to build up on Daniel, I wonder if Lucy will start rethinking things. Maybe she will start questioning her dad's innocence. I don't know. I mean, once the planted evidence is found, it looks really bad. Chance actually tried asking Daniel if he could search the place. And I felt so bad for Daniel because when Chance floated the theory that maybe Heather was having an affair, I felt bad because now not only has Daniel lost the woman that he loves in this horrific way, but now he's also stuck defending their relationship, but also, that has to stick with you. He also has to maybe be questioning her now that she's gone. That was really a powerful scene. But Chance argued that giving me a chance to look through Heather's things might give me a clue about why she would want to be down by the river at night possibly meeting a lover. But Daniel said, no, you're not going to do that. You're not going to disturb her memory. I'm not having it. And then in the previews, Chance is telling Summer that things aren't looking good for her brother. So I am guessing that Chance must have decided to go ahead and get a search warrant and search the place anyway. Mixed in with Sharon's murder machinations are also Sharon's hopes and desires for, well, a future that's free of this whole mess, and a future that is free of Daniel Romalotti, and a future that is free to move on with Nick. Oh. The way that she dolled herself up for that date. There wasn't really even a date. Nick was like, taking my ex-wife out to dinner to find out how crazy she is, just wearing a flannel shirt. And Sharon was like, pink sparkle dress, messy updo, and yes, the perfect earrings, the ones that Nick bought me all those years ago. I'll make sure to twirl them so he can see I'm wearing them and comment. Oh, Nick was so clueless, which is a sentence I'm sure I've said before. Although, okay, in Nick's defense, his black and blue flannel shirt probably came from some upscale catalog. It was probably like a $200 black and blue flannel shirt. A Christmas gift from Nikki, no doubt. Nikki bought Nick that shirt for Christmas from a $200 flannel shirt from an upscale catalog. She still goes through catalogs to order clothes. The physical copy too. She gets the magazine and she flips through, and that's how she does some of her Christmas ordering. And that's how Nick got the shirt. We know how Sharon got the earrings, so we have to fill in how Nick got the shirt. But the whole tone of the plaid shirt next to Sharon's pink sparkles, it just really said everything that needed to be said. I think that was a really great visual representation of what was going on there. Sharon, she was just so excited. I mean, she was like a girl going on a date. She was practically beaming and dreaming too. The date turned out kind of ho-hum. But when Nick brought her home, oh, he did not just turn around and leave. Oh no, he gave her the hungry eyes and tossed her down on the couch. No, wait, that was a fantasy, and Cameron was the one who stopped it. Oh, that was so great. It was so great. I love Cameron interrupting Sharon's fantasies, because there was also this completely separate scene where Sharon was imagining that she was kissing Nick, and that time we knew it was a fantasy. The sexiness on the couch, the after date makeout, we didn't know. It was a surprise. But then there was also we saw her fantasizing about the kiss with Nick. We knew it was a fantasy, and then Nick all of a sudden turned into Cameron, and Cameron was like, whoa, hold your horses. And she snapped out of it. Cameron would have definitely loved to get some kisses out of Sharon, but yeah, he took over that part of her fantasy. He's just so good. Cameron is just so good. His sarcasm and his dark humor is just such a good contrast with this seriousness of everything that is going on. I mean, Cameron is really the saving grace of this whole story for me, because without him, I just feel like it would not be entertaining. It would just be gruesome and unwatchable. Alan and Tracy are back. Alan has closed up his townhouse in Paris, the townhouse where Martin terrorized Ashley. And now Alan and Tracy are ready to settle in to a drama-free life in Genoa City. Except not. I feel like Alan really needed that introduction to Genoa City this week that he got. It was like, Alan, you're new here, so we're going to give you the lay of the land. And we're going to do it highlighted perfectly for you during your first dinner out as an official Genoa City resident at the athletic club. It was Tracy and Alan at one table, Jack and Diane at another table, and Victor and Michael at another table. Oh, plus order a side of Sharon, hold the crazy. And it was just like a perfect, typical night out in our fair town so that Alan could get the lay of the land. I just have to say, I loved that and was very impressed with that use of our big set. You know, I mean, we've got this great big athletic club set with multiple options for seating, and that was really cool because that set was housing 3 completely separate conversations happening at the same time, and then the drama exploded. Jack and Diane had this big blow up, and Tracy was, of course, onlooking with concern, and then Victor was onlooking with glee. Diane and Jack really went from practically mooning over each other like teenagers to now having these vicious fights in public, and I feel like it practically happened overnight. It seemed like, you know, Diane has suddenly had this major personality change, and it just feels a little jarring, I guess. I do understand Diane being sore with Jack over the whole Kyle thing, because I do think that Jack did a very poor job of stepping up, stepping in, and being the leader. I mean, not just even of the family, but of the company too, of both. I feel like Jack let Kyle go at her, and he did nothing to stop it. He was just totally unsupportive, and so, I don't know, Diane did the only thing that she could think to do. She fired Kyle. She treated him like she would have treated any employee who was doing the things that he was doing. I mean, and yeah, it backfired, but I mean, because Kyle, he is entitled. He is entitled. He has that feeling of entitlement, and he was ticked off about being kicked out and humiliated, and so, you know, suddenly the entitlement runs out, and you're not getting the thing that you think you deserve, and then he's acting out. Now he's acting out, and he throws this little tantrum, and he's going to work for Victor, and he stole family company secrets, which is illegal. Michael confirmed that to Victor this week, and Jack has threatened to have Kyle prosecuted for it, which I hope he does. Yeah, when Jack and Diane got the Glissade press release, they knew exactly what had happened immediately. There could be no one else behind it. I mean, this was their product. A sunscreen that I have to apply only once per day? Yes, please. Once per day sunscreen. Doesn't matter even if I'm sweating or swimming or sweating while swimming. I mean, I think that is revolutionary. I would have bought it. But now all of Jabot's hard work in development is gone. Just like that. And all of the accolades will go to Glissade. In the previews for next week, Audra is telling Jack that Victor is the secret owner of Glissade, which is like yesterday's news. But I don't know, maybe that will be enough to make Jack want to work with Audra to take Kyle and Victor down. I think that's a possibility, because for sure I think that Audra will be resourceful enough to be the one to discover some kind of evidence that points directly at Kyle stealing this product from Jabot. And I think that is how Audra is ultimately going to knock Kyle off of his high horse. And I think storyline wise, it'll be better coming from her than from his own parents. I think we need Audra. She has the motive. She's gonna get in there. She's gonna knock Kyle off, and then Jack and Diane can be like, well, we told you so, but we also didn't really facilitate it. So I don't know. I think someone needs to take care of Kyle. And, you know, I don't think Claire's gonna be the one to do it. I don't think Jack and Diane will be the one to do it, and I don't think Claire's gonna be the one to do it. You know, it occurred to me this week that Claire stalked a woman and then helped kidnap her. And I think she's too good for Kyle. You know? He's such a brat. He told Claire this week that he outsmarted Audra. Oh, he bragged about it, really. He got Audra fired. He was rather proud of himself about it. He refused to even entertain the idea that maybe it was not cool. And Claire, you know, she gave him a warning about wishing misfortune on others. And, you know, I came from a place where, you know, Jordan was all about revenge, and it's not a good look. But whatever, Kyle didn't hear it at all. He kind of dismissed her. In fact, he just said, you know, I did what was best for me. I did what was best for my family. I did what was best for Harrison. Did you notice that he played the Harrison card when he was talking to Claire? And really, she kind of backed off after that. They stopped really talking after that. She sort of recoiled into herself, and only now she's sort of internally questioning what's going on. Because seeing Kyle in this different light should be giving Claire some pause. And it was so much so that she decided to talk to Jack about it. And Jack's response was like, yeah, Kyle is on a bad path, but you know who set him on it? Your grandfather. Of course. That was a really great scene, because it was as if Jack was saying, gee, how do I lightly tell you this? Your grandfather is ruthless. Surely you know there was a book written about him. Perhaps you should read it. I mean, I think it's out of print, so you're probably not going to be able to get it on Amazon. Claire, do you have a library card? I'm gonna bury you. That was our quote from last week, and I really like that because the show has been so dark, you know, dark and deadly. And then, I'm gonna bury you. That line came from Audra, and of course it's unrelated to the main murder drama that's going on right now, and so I guess that's why it struck me. Audra said it, and she was talking to Kyle, arguing with him about their rivalry at Glissade. So that was a tricky one, and I have to give big congratulations then to Ron and Dolores, Joanne B, Juanita, Justin, Tanya, Henry, and Daisy. You guys got it. I think we need something a little more upbeat this week. So, who said this? Life is too short to put off joy. Life is too short to put off joy. Who said it? If you think you know, you should go to yrchat.com, leave your guess there, and if you get it right, I will give you your shout out during next week's Y&R Chat. Okay, now let's dig into your comments about the week, starting with Brent, who says, I was on Diane's side about 6 months ago when she was holding Jack accountable for his inappropriate behavior with Nikki, but no longer. Didn't she come back to town to repair her relationship with Kyle? And now she's mad at Jack for still hoping to repair the relationship? She's the worst. You know, I guess that's what it is. It just feels inconsistent with everything that we've known about Diane since she's come back. It really, more than anything, she wants Kyle. She wants Jack. And then for her to, I mean, almost like Jack even said something to Abby like, I think she doesn't even want to be around me right now. That's very stark. It's such an incredible change. I understand her being mad, certainly, but it does feel like she's really turned a corner to where her values aren't the same as they once were. And maybe we're just getting that indicator of a new Diane, or a turn in her character, or a turn in her story. Sherrod responds to that by saying, while Jack is an optimist, Diane is a realist. She knows that Kyle is so far gone that there is nothing they can do to get his love back, aside from handing over Jabot to him. Kyle stole a formula from Jabot to give to Victor. That is corporate espionage. He could and should be arrested for that. Even though Victor knows this, he also only asked Michael to help Kyle, believing that Michael will share this information with his friend Diane. Kyle is the worst. Okay, so you think that, I didn't pick that up from the scene, that you think Victor told Michael about this so that he would tell Diane. Did Victor say that Kyle was the one that did it? Yeah, he did, right? I guess I didn't think about that, because Victor did tell Michael to then go and talk to Diane, so maybe Victor is expecting Michael to share that information. I just think that I could just see Victor setting Kyle up for all of this and then just washing his hands of him. I think Victor could very well make it look like the whole thing was Kyle's fault and he knew nothing about it, and then he hangs Kyle out to dry like he's yesterday's laundry. Connie says, Kyle Abbott better be glad that I am not his parent. If my child stole from me, bragged about doing the wrong thing as payback for hurt feelings, lied that he and his team miraculously discovered the same product that Jabot had been secretly developing, and smirked at me with that two-faced smile, I would have gone off on him or avoided arrest for assault by escorting him to the front door and letting him know that Victor is now his family and he can go live with him. I would offer to keep Harrison until he finds a new house, because my home will never be open to a thief, a liar, and a spoiled man that needs to learn that he is the pawn in Victor's game and he has made a huge mistake that will leave him alone, unemployed, and we will see who's smirking when he falls on his foolish backside. Tough love in grown children is necessary, and in this case, certainly warranted. Dang! Connie just dropped the hammer down on Kyle. That was the best comment I've read all week, Connie. Yes! That was so good. You know, and I was thinking that Jack was at least going to kick him out. I mean, that was a pretty great confrontation. Jack knows Kyle stole from him right under his nose. Had to have happened in the house. Why didn't Jack say, get out of my house? That's what I was waiting to hear. Well, Naomi says Jack's own words should be his best clue that maybe Kyle should be the one running Jabot. He said to Kyle that Jabot hasn't had a product development of that scale in a decade. Ashley was the innovator of products, and Jack fought with her at every opportunity. Kyle is every bit as conniving as his dad and mom. They just don't like it when they see themselves in their own son. Ooh, I mean, yeah, that's true too. all of the above. But I love your point that it's like, oh, gee, Jabot hasn't had a product launch that big in a decade. Why not? And maybe Diane does deserve that job if now suddenly they are. Well, Diana says, I have to say, Kyle being a smug, arrogant, rich, entitled brat is much more interesting than when he was with Summer or Lola. His character was quite lame and wasn't very interesting. I would like to see him fix his issues with his parents and be more of a bad boy in other ways at work and in his love life. An example would be that he steals an idea from a co-worker and not his mother and use that to his benefit. Kyle hacks into a co-worker's file at work and learns something important about a product. It would be fun then to see Kyle at a board meeting where he presents this new product as his own in front of his business partner, and everyone applauds Kyle for the excellent job. I enjoy these business storylines, but I wish we would see more of the sneaky transactions taking place rather than just hearing Jack and Diane talk about them. You know what? You're right, Diana. That would have made the story have a more fun element as opposed to, Kyle doesn't look good coming out of any of this. It would have been maybe more fun if he would have stole the idea from somebody else and presented it as his own. I like that point. Tanya says, I agree with Diane that Kyle is a grown man and he chose to work for Victor just like he chose to undermine Diane at work. Tanya, this is a good point too, because Kyle is a big boy, right? He's making all of his own decisions. Victor set the bait, yeah, but Kyle took it happily. He seems to be very happy with his situation. So he created it and he's going to deal with it too. Connie says, hello, Lily and Kyle. Please let me introduce you to Victor Newman. All business transactions with him should be specified in a legal contract, or you will regret the loss that you incur if you trust the black-hearted and double-dealing man with a handshake deal. Yup. And, by the way, you can add Audra to that list. Here, please meet Victor Newman. Lily, Kyle, Audra, please meet Victor Newman. Because Robin says, prediction, Audra will work for Jabot and possibly have a fling with Jack. Or the addiction story will rise again, leaving Audra and Diane to take control of Jabot. Yeah, Audra's, I think she's going to have her revenge on Kyle. I think that's really interesting if she goes to work at Jabot and has a fling with Jack. Or maybe she's seen as a gold digger or something. But Audra wanted Glissade. Maybe she can use some of that passion toward making Jabot interesting again. I'd rather have Jabot on top than Glissade, because I don't know Glissade. We've known Jabot for years, and they haven't had a product launch in a decade. Come on. Daisy says, now that Lily knows Victor's plan, I'm hoping she'll finally go to Jill and let her know what's going on. I don't think Jill would be okay with what Billy has been doing, nor that Victor was planning to blindside Lily. Jill could take her shares back from Billy and then give them to Lily as her proxy, so she'd be able to run Chancellor the way Jill meant for it to be run. Jill then plans to sell some of her shares to Lily, making her part owner. She also wants to sell a significant portion to Devon, Catherine's grandson, making him an owner and partner of his sister. Jill also wants to ensure her legacy lives on and makes plans to leave her grandchildren shares so they can be impactful at Chancellor's at some point. Jill's hope is that at least one of her grandchildren will want to work side by side with Lily and Devon. For Jill, that means that both she and Catherine's legacies are saved and Chancellor's will be taken to new heights in the future. Where the heck is Jill, really? All of this going on without any word from Jill. I do think that the company needs to be redistributed because Jill being the owner is just not working. She's not on the show. But I like the idea of distributing that ownership across Lily and Devon and Billy's kids. And Billy too. We need some actual board members, don't we? With shares. Wow. Naomi says, Devon is looking good in his leather jacket. His voice is so low and smooth when he soothes Abby's bridezilla nerves. He really is the perfect boyfriend for Abby, and I enjoy watching them together. They're a gorgeous couple. They really are, and I loved the leather jacket. I thought he looked really good in it too. Yes. Well, Diana says, I was happy to hear that Amy Lewis was returning to Y&R. It is always exciting when characters from the past are brought back to the show, as fans always enjoy nostalgia. We've mentioned this, and the show has responded to what the viewers want. We're getting it often now, from Daniel and Danny Romalotti, Cricket, Aunt Mamie, Diane, and Cole, just to name a few. I remember when Amy worked for Paul and Andy. The show was so compelling back in the day, as we would actually see people at work all the time and in their homes. The character of Amy Lewis was very cute looking and had a beautiful smile. And I have found a video of her and Jazz Jackson that I wanted to share. Oh yeah, I didn't see that video yet, but I will. At yrchat.com, it's in the comments. But yeah, I think Sherrod had mentioned that it is a recast. It's not going to be the original actress. And this is interesting coming from Gary, who says, to me, Amy Lewis was the police chief's daughter. Her life story beyond that has faded for me, but what was said at chat rings a bit of a familiar bell. Amy was kind of a B character. Yeah, I took my recap of Amy Lewis directly from Soaps in Depth, and they didn't mention anything about her being the police chief's daughter, but that makes sense. And then she went to work with Paul and Andy, and she had this singing career, I guess, with Danny and the group too. So it's interesting to think about what is going to come of this, because Nate reported that Amy contacted him, and she said, hey, I got some trinkets from your dad. Hey, I know it's been only, 30 years, but I found some stuff of your dad's. Thought you might want it. Nate goes out to get the stuff, and it's unimpressive. It's just like, thanks, an old concert ticket, or, I don't know, whatever it was. But it wasn't meaningful to him, whatever it was. And he said that he felt that really what it was about was Amy trying to get some kind of assessment of him, trying to figure out what he was like. Why would that be? What is Amy's motive? What does she want? And might Nathan Sr. actually be behind it? Well, let's talk about Miss Sharon and company. Naomi says Cameron's advice is lie, Sharon, lie like a rug. He's got the best lines. Yes. I have to make that a poll question this week. Cameron, should we keep him around for these great lines that he has? I mean, it's like every week he really is the breakout star of this bizarre turn of events. And I'm wondering, do you think that Y&R should find a way to keep him around? Whether it's, hey, Cameron's alive, or wow, he had a twin, or I don't know, whatever way they could dream up to keep this guy on the show. Would you like that? Do you like him enough to want him to stay? YRChat.com is where you can vote. Gary says, I was going to call Sharon a cool customer at the beginning of her interrogation by Detective Dreamy yesterday. But then when he stepped outside and she started talking to her alter ego about murder with him right on the other side of the door, is that a heavy oak door? Jeez. This setting Daniel up can't go far and hardly flatters Sharon. I was thinking the same thing. She's having this whole conversation with Cameron on the couch, and Chance's just on the other side of the door. Oh, here's a great point from Steven. Steven says, now that Chance knows the time of the last person that saw Heather alive, he has a place to start. Daniel was at the movies with Lucy. Confirm where Daniel was, and from that moment to the first text, or the approximate time of death, you can rule him out if possible. When did Sharon leave? Check her cell phone data to find the exact time. Murder Mystery 101 says the last person who saw the deceased alive is the killer. Otherwise, when did Heather leave and how? Where did she go? There must be street cameras, taxi records, Uber. Soon it will have to come together. You know what, Stephen? That's so good because you're right. You're right. Daniel has an alibi. But Sharon went missing that night. And Nick and Faith and Mariah all know it. Daniel has an alibi. Sharon was mysteriously missing and her entire family was worried about her. Come on, Chance. Come on, Chance. T. Nicole says, I don't think planting a bloody towel and Heather's phone in Daniel's apartment is enough to convict him. First, Chance would question if Daniel got text from Heather. Then why would he text himself from her? Second, Daniel has an alibi with Lucy being at the movie during the time Heather was killed. Third, if Sharon's hair is anything like mine, there has to be at least some hair shedding somewhere in that apartment. Sharon's hair is I vacuum pretty much every day and I'm still finding my hair everywhere. Oh my gosh, you vacuum every day. On another note, with Chance being on this case, would it be a conflict of interest? His relationship with Summer could influence how he treats Daniel, and he had a personal relationship with Sharon, who will of course be questioned. If Chance actually had Daniel being a suspect, Summer is just going to be okay with that, and the relationship is not going to break because of that? Yeah, you're right. Chance has a major conflict of interest. But yeah, but that's a good point too, T. Nicole, because whenever they searched the apartment, they could find a hair or something of Sharon's. I was waiting for him to find that broken glass when he was there or something. But then again, I mean, Sharon admitted that she was there, so she could just be like, yeah, my hair just must have come off. Clearly, Daniel doesn't vacuum every day. Oh, and hey, T. Nicole. Happy birthday to you, October 19th. I hope that there is a big chocolate muffin waiting for you with a candle in it. I know you love them. Chocolate chip is a nice second place, but yeah, a good chocolate muffin. Can't beat that. And also, Glenda has a birthday on the 15th. Glenda, I know you were at the website just a couple of weeks ago. Where did you go? We saw your comment and then you were gone. So happy birthday to you. Come and tell us what kind of muffin you want for your birthday. As long as it's not a blood muffin. Okay. Victoria says, if Daniel is arrested for Heather's murder, it would be interesting if Faith finds some evidence at her house which Sharon overlooked. It would be a moral dilemma for Faith to decide whether to turn in her mother or let Daniel take the rap. Ding, 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 ding. Victoria, yes, 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 yes. All of these Faith and Mariah being worried about Sharon's scenes are tedious to me. Like, I don't know, it's basically because it goes like this. The kids question Sharon, she soothes it all out, rinse and repeat, but maybe, just maybe, if all of those scenes are leading up to one of them, Faith or Mariah or Nick or somebody, discovering that Sharon is the one who is guilty and now they're stuck with the moral dilemma of, do I turn in this evidence? Well, then that is pretty darn good. Who is writing this stuff? Did we get a writer upgrade or something? Because that's pretty good. Oh. But this takes the cake. And it comes from Sherrod, who says, for me, what would be a complete surprise and twist to the story is that Lucy gets arrested for the killing. And then we, the viewers, see Sharon spinning out of control from guilt. I say Lucy is a viable suspect because wasn't she supposedly doing community service when Sharon was killing Heather? Lucy met Daniel at the GCAC for ice cream afterwards. What if she wasn't doing community service? Remember, they had just fought about leaving Genoa City. At least that's how I would go for the sake of even more drama. Whoa. That would be incredible. Even if it was an accident. Even if it was like some kind of fight happened between Lucy and Heather fell, and then Lucy just left, and now all of a sudden it got taken care of for her by Sharon. That would be quite a twist. Well, Kamna says, I don't know if the writers will go here, but there is an opportunity for some really interesting nuanced tension between Chance and Nick. If I remember correctly, one of the things that really frustrated Chance right before he left the GCPD was how people like the Newmans always get away with things. I can't remember if he knew Nick killed Ashland by mistake or if Chance had a hunch, but if Nick tries to use his name and influence to get Sharon a lighter sentence, it would probably piss Chance off even more. But then, of course, it is complicated by Summer. Yeah, I know, right? That was absolutely Chance's main complaint about the police department, and of course it's going to happen again. But then again, Chance might just have a soft spot for Sharon. You're right, he needs to be recused from this case. Nowhere are they like, yeah, you have a personal interest in this case? We'll just hand this one over to you. The GCPD. Good old GCPD. Well, Gary says, I liked the way Sharon took Nick's dinner invitation all too much to heart, dolling herself up beautifully while Nick came as a lumberjack. That's perfect. I mean, Sharon looked like a Barbie doll and Nick came as a lumberjack. That's funny. Diana says, it really showed us that Nick wasn't too interested in the date like Sharon was. Nick didn't think much about the date or how he looked, whereas Sharon was all in and wanting to look attractive for him. You're right, it makes Sharon look somewhat foolish and not on the same page as Nick. Well, I mean, for Nick, it really wasn't a date. He had been talking to Mariah and Faith, and he said, you know what, I'm just going to take... Faith had said, I think maybe Mom might be just faking. I think she might just be saying that she's okay. And then Mariah was like, well, no, she just led this meeting and she was a rock star. And then Nick was like, I'll just take her out to dinner and suss it out for myself, whereas Sharon heard date. I think Nick was just thinking dinner and let me just kind of suss the situation, but Sharon heard date. And it was perfectly represented in the outfit choices. Okay, well, last week I asked you guys if you would be willing to accept a recast of Paul, and 60% of you said yes. Give me Paul, whether it's Doug Davidson or not. Henry says, my vote was yes to bring back Doug Davidson or a recast. I'm not sure what Davidson's contract entailed. Maybe he can't come back, as Allie alluded to. But regarding a recast, that role would have to be somewhat long-term, and I think it would work because Lucy will need some much-needed family support, and who better than her grandfather as well as her dad, and also let's not forget Grandma Phyllis. From a fan's perspective, I think that Davidson has been gone so long that a new actor could easily be accepted as the new Paul Williams. I must throw this in. What would that mean for Cricket's new romance with Danny if Paul would return? Yeah, bringing Paul back would give the show another shot in the arm that wouldn't hurt. You know, that is really true, Henry, that Paul could so easily be slid into many storylines right now, but I have to be honest with you guys, I voted like an old fuddy-duddy on this one, and I was like, no, I don't want to recast of Paul, I only want Doug Davidson's Paul. So I voted no, only because I just was feeling like I want Doug Davidson. But you know, you make a pretty good point that a recast would be good, and even though that's clearly not in the story for this week, for right now, I don't think that makes the question invalid at all. The majority of people want the character of Paul, even if it's a recast, whether it's Doug Davidson or not, and I think that says something. But you know what, like Diana said, we are getting a whole lot of nostalgic characters coming back on the show, and I think that that's a good thing. And it's not even just bringing them back for nostalgia. They're getting new life breathed into their character, and I think Tracy's a really good example of that. They've brought her back and they've given her a new life. Sharon W. says, welcome home, Tracy and Alan. Tracy has a wonderful idea. Alan should move into her wing of the Abbott mansion with her. I assume this will go over with Jack and Diane as wonderfully as the former moving in of Ashley and Tucker. Of course, Alan has not been shown doing anything wrong yet. Yes, I totally agree. OMG, Tracy said she has that whole wing of the house to herself. I mean, it must be lonely in that whole wing. We need to move Alan on in. But hey, if that's not enough privacy for Alan, then they could just move into the pool house. I mean, when Tracy said that, when she suggested that, when she even said the word pool house, I was like, yes! Let's definitely move them into the pool house in October. It is October, and it feels like it. It really does feel like October on the show. We've got a murder mystery going for as the weather cools down and we move into the creepier month. Y&R has delivered on that for sure, and I hope they keep it going. Who knows, maybe we'll have a resolution by Halloween. Well, I guess I'm done. So I guess that means that it's your turn to go and leave your comments about the show for the week. The website is yrchat.com. You know this. You should go there. Let me know all your thoughts, what you're thinking. Vote in the poll. See all the pictures. It is there for you, so please enjoy it. And I will be back for you next Sunday, and we will do our little Y&R chat again. Okay, I love you guys, and I hope that you have a really good week. I'll see you next time. Bye.